What's up, Purist? It's Bob from Purist Motorsports. Now that we've driven this car, let's take a look at the interior. Come on, let's go. All right, here we are in the interior. The car is a used Fox. It's in disrepair. The interior is pretty rough. You can tell the horn button. It fell out the other day, then I couldn't find it, and then this morning it was under the seat, of course. But that's an easy fix. We can go to the junkyard and find a car, and you can pry them out. So and then they just pop right back in with the little clips. So the issues with this car are, I'd mentioned before, the shift knob is not correct. That's something that is very hard to find in the Saleen world, the correct shift knob for 87 to 91 cars. 92, 93 cars is a little different. The shift knob changed. It may have changed in 91. There's always an overlap. So if there's one thing that I have learned about Saleens is that there was a standard and that standard was broken. So you have to almost have paperwork on each car and pictures that date the car to show what it was like. It's like this car. It had a supercharger. I wouldn't have known that had I didn't have pictures of it come forth from someone. So anyways, the interesting thing about this car too, it has a 200 mile an hour speedometer. I want to say the standard was 170, and then the 200 was supposed to be in the SC. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that is interesting. The other is that most 90-91 Saleens, you'll find that the speedometer has the logo, the tachometer does not. There are some cars that have logos on both. I think it was due to supply and getting the cars done and getting them out. So if you're in business and you have to change something at the last minute so you can get something done and you can make money, you do that. I think that's exactly what Saleen did, especially in 90 and 91. Then 92 was a really low production year, so it was less than 20 cars made in 92. But anyways, back to it. The stereo has been changed out. That's a nice unit. Bluetooth has, I don't know if it has CarPlay, but it has a lot of features in it. There's the microphone laying over on the floor. But the car itself has had the tachometer at some point, or a gauge drilled into the dash, so we'll replace the dash. I've got one that I can dye. Little tidbit, all of the dashes from 90 to 93 are molded black. They're painted the interior color from here down. So there's a crack here. And then someone's put aftermarket speakers in there. Probably gonna leave those. Kind of a cool period correct deal. That was something that's common. You get a component speaker back in the day. They're kind of cool. I'm gonna need the trim ring for one. If I keep them, you can see over there that's broken. Mount pockets are always just terrible. You can see, although people replace them, I'm really big on trying to rebuild these if the holes aren't huge. There's just nothing out there that matches this pattern perfectly. They're either way too aggressive on the grain, or the color is off. That's just the way it works. The other part here, the rear seats, they're in pretty good shape, but the logos are worn. It's typical due to age. Interesting, it looks like they put gray seatbelt hole holders. You can also see a little bit of this wiring sticking out. That's from an amplifier and a system. It's typical, you know. I never put subwoofers on my car because it added weight. It wasn't something I cared for. I was okay with what was in the car. It was really more about speed. It got me in trouble. Fun fact, got pulled over the very first date with my wife. And so she stuck it through with me. Obviously she's my wife, but our very first one-on-one date, yep, got pulled over. So, and it was in a Fox Mustang. So the seats are worn here. I do believe this material still can still be obtained. So I'll let my buddy Matt, Morgan's Auto Trim, help me out with that. Seats, these people are actually 3D printing the little levers that go on that. It's in a pretty rough shape. The hatch area is really bad. I'll show you that. You can see wiring sticking out. You can see the wires going up underneath here. Fuse box has been yanked down. That should be pushed up. Should have a cover on it. It's just not in the greatest of shape for what looks like 26,000 miles. And based on the owners and the time it sat, it's possible this car has just have 26,000 miles, but it looks like 126,000 miles. So we're going to say 126 without any documentation to prove it. People are going to assume 126, so that's what we'll go with. But typical problem there. Needs a spring. Luckily the door's metal. The later ones, after I want to say 91, at some point they changed this top to plastic, and the plastic ones are known to break. These I want to say are yeah, this one's metal. Let's see here, typical. The little door doesn't work. The clasp doesn't hold. But the back is in pretty ratty shape. This is pretty rough. Ooh, yeah. I heard that inside of the hatch. So it's pretty beat up. You can see there somebody had something in the quarter panel. I don't know what it was, but that's beat. There's red overspray inside the car. That's gonna be fun to get done, but I mean, yeah, you can see, I don't know if you can see the tint. There's red overspray from it being painted. And then the spare tire well is in pretty bad shape because the cover, see, this thing's been just dipped down, but water's gotten into it. I'll have to take care of that, but we'll make this look better. I actually have a hatch pull shade, but I think one end is broken off of it. We'll have to fix that. The headrests are supposed to be the netted halo style, and they're supposed to match in material to these seats. They're supposed to be gray. So definitely we'll be looking for some of those. And no, the Recaro ones will not work. The pole insert supports are spaced a different distance apart, so they don't work. Headliner's in good shape. Thankfully, you can see where the 2-point brace was, the indentions in the top. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that. Over there, over there. It's at machine shop. We're having them made, so follow along. And speaker grills. This one looks like it's actually attached pretty good. The driver's side is busted, but it's obviously stained from Coke, who knows, beer potentially. There's the holes for the interior brace right there. Got a little update on the shift knob. Let's go take a look at that right now at the workbench. So the shift knob, this shift knob here, it's an Amco piece, which is correct for the Saleen. You see the box there. This shift knob was actually a push-on shift knob, probably for a Datsun or a Nissan, because it's a 4-speed knob. That was what was originally on it. But the style was right. It had the collar at the bottom, this right here. It's flat, it's not rounded at the bottom, and it's got a set screw. So what I did is I took it to the machine shop and I had them put a threaded insert in it. That right there, I think the knob cost me $25 on eBay, and the insert at this point, the machine shop is they're working on other stuff, so we'll tally that up at the end. But I don't know that it took them too long, and it's a press fit. The next thing is due to the removal of the medallion with the heat gun, because this glue was extremely hard. It split the faux vinyl there and there because it was so tight as it comes around the corner, as it comes over the top. So before we put this medallion on it, we'll have my buddy Matt take this off and then reinstall. We'll just cover it, and it's pretty simple. We may actually do it in some leather. I've got some leather left over from the Almost 4 project we could use on it, so that will work out pretty well. It'll be a correct shift knob for the car. Pretty excited about that, because these are really hard to find with that collar. It's funny, the hardest stuff to find for Saleens are the things that were off the shelf at parts stores. The Amco shift knobs you could buy at Pep Boys, and the Pioneer radios you could buy at radio shops all across the country. But the specific models that are needed for the cars are almost impossible to find. And when you do find one, they're very expensive, because most people took them out and threw them away for modern stereos. And then the Saleen specific stuff that they made, like the wheels, they're fairly affordable. You will pay 1/4 the price of a set of wheels for a stereo, or more if you're looking for an old Kenwood from the 85, 86 era. So anyways, I just wanted to give you a dime tour of this and where we are. The car's on the ground. I've got to get some stuff going. Really need to wet sand that hood. It's bothering me because it's got rattle can marks. You can see it in the sunlight there. The next thing on the list is to get the shift knob done and get it in the car, and then we'll get cleaning things up, get rid of the floor mats, try to find some correct floor mats. I think Saleen sells them now. I'm just hoping the color's right. And remember, whether you're driving them or whether you're restoring them, always enjoy them. Peace.